friends. Hello, hi, how are you? Oh my god, I haven't said that in so long. Hi. So I'm in my new home. That's why this setup's kind of different. There's like, the room is pink, but I'm in my new house right now. We just got in here yesterday, and I am not settled. I'm not done unpacking yet, so that's kind of why we're at this filming setup. I actually still have like furniture pieces missing, so that's why this is on something that it's gonna be fine. Okay, we're gonna fix it, but for right now the room's a little bit of a weird place, but that will be fixed soon. Anyway, you don't care. You're here for tea. So if you hear any banging, this is still a construction zone and people are still unpacking, and I'm filming while they're doing that because my tasks for the day are done. So today, if you hear that, that's just what's happening right now. Today, like that. Today, we are going to be talking about a couple of different things. So a couple of kind of like, I don't want to say dramas because I don't know if they're necessarily drama or tea, but definitely two big events kind of happened over the past couple days that I wanted to talk about. The first is the Petty Paige series that she did on the channel Spill, and I definitely want to talk about that and give you guys my opinion on that. And the second thing that I want to talk about is the video Manny MUA posted about his canceling. So let's start with Spill. So if you guys don't know, I'm going to be linking Petty Paige's video down below because I think she did like a 3-part series, and I truly think that that was super well done, super informative, and just like overall very good. So you should go check out her 3-part series because she went in deep. She's gonna be this is who I'm citing for the rest of the video. Like, she basically did all of the research. I'm just kind of commentating on what she found. But if you haven't seen her series yet, I would 10 out of 10 go watch it. It's fantastic. I make a little cameo in the 3rd video. Hi. She asked me to film a little part for the 3rd video, so I am in the part of the 3rd video. Thank you to Paige for asking me to do that. I love Paige. She's been an amazing just person in my life and on YouTube, so I thank you to her. She posted those videos, and basically what Paige discovered, there's a lot of other little details too, but the main detail was there's this channel on YouTube called Spill. Spill has about 900,000 subscribers, and they are a drama channel. I'm gonna say they from now on. Seems more fitting. They are a drama channel, and they have been putting out really good content. And I actually really like Spill. I like the channel. I like the way that they do things. I like that they come from drama from a very like research-based perspective. I like Spill a lot. Found out some stuff that's made me a little bit sus about Spill at this point. So basically what Petty Paige's video said was she dug deep and found out that Spill is actually a corporation. So Spill came out with a video right before Paige's basically saying that they were a small group of people who became a business for tax purposes, and that's why they're technically like a business in Canada, and they're just like a small group of people, and this is like a passion project that they love, which is like fair. Paige did some research and found out that that's not the tea, that Spill has always been a part of a much larger corporation. They're not like Spill Incorporated, because that's actually something YouTubers, like a lot of YouTubers do. Like I know a lot of people who turn their channel into a business because technically it helps with, I think it's taxes. My dad talked to me about this a while ago, but technically it like helps with taxes and stuff like that. So I know a lot of YouTubers do this. So had Spill actually just grown a little bit and brought on more people to help with like research and videos and stuff, had they done that and then just created their own company, I don't think that would have been that weird. The fact that they have always been from a corporation, and it's not like Spill Incorporated, they're actually run by a much larger corporation, and they have been from the get. So Petty Paige kind of exposed that. Petty Paige also exposed the fact who Spill, like the voice of Spill, actually was, and it's a girl, I don't know her name. I think to me, the person who actually voices Spill is almost irrelevant at this point. Like, it doesn't really matter who she herself is because she's not like an issue. Like, she just like works for the issue. Like, that would be like blaming like managers at Amazon for Amazon's issues. You know what I mean? She's just kind of like there doing her job, making her money, like doing what she has to do, right? So she's not really the issue. There's been a little bit of a dispute within Paige's Paige's video about if Paige should have actually shown this girl's picture and shown the staff that works on Spill, like shown who works on them. It gets into a gray area because technically everything Paige put in the video was public information. The girl who voices Spill has it publicly on her Twitter that she voices Spill. It's on her LinkedIn profile. All of the people that work for Spill also have it on their LinkedIn profiles, which are all public. So to me, I don't see a huge issue with doing that. The only thing I thought maybe but I guess it doesn't matter, but the one thing I was like, was maybe the showing of her picture, only because I know there are people that don't put their face on YouTube, regardless of how it started. Like, there might be people who don't put their face on YouTube because they're self-conscious about how they look and maybe didn't want hundreds of thousands of people to see how they look. So that was the only thing that made me feel like a little weird, but still, again, it falls under fair use. It's public information. It's not like she doxed her or found this out via like some shady way. She literally just found her LinkedIn profile. Like, I don't know. When I was like first starting YouTube and I was scared people in my real life were gonna find my channel, I wasn't like putting on my private Twitter like I am Smokey Glow on YouTube so people could just go look at that. You know what I mean? So when I think about it that way, I'm kind of like, okay, it's not like she was actively trying to hide it. You would have to look into it a little bit, but that doesn't mean it's not public information. It's still public information. I don't consider that doxing. I think the only time you could consider something like that even remotely close to doxing would be trying to use someone's personal past. Like, I know in the past we've had people try to bring up other people's like mugshots and stuff like that. That I consider to be a little much. Even though it's technically public record, you're getting into more of a morality issue with that type of stuff. Whereas Paige, I don't think there was anything morally wrong or legally wrong with what she did by showing who Spill actually was. That's just my opinion on it. So like, what happens now? Like, the video's out, we kind of all have this information, whatnot. There's been a really large, I think there's been kind of people going one of two ways, where people are comparing it to when like Walmart comes into a really small town and starts closing down smaller businesses because they are a corporation, they have the resources, they have the funding, and as a result, smaller stores start to close down. A lot of drama channels are making this comparison because they feel like Spill is a big corporation and has resources that they don't have, which is true, and that they're kind of trying to shut down drama channels. And then I think there's another group of people who say, well, Spill's videos are informative, they're well researched, and I don't think there's anything wrong with what they're doing. They're providing content that other drama channels aren't making. I think the real issue comes down, personally, I think there's room for all people. I just think there is. Like, I think there's room for everyone on YouTube. I don't think there would have been any issue at all if Spill had just actually been honest that they were a part of a corporation like from the start, or if that was like a transparent thing, like if it was transparent that they were a corporation. I don't think any of this would have been a problem because I do think there's room for both corporations and single party creators. I think there's room for both. We see it right now. I mean, Patrick Starr and James Charles have teams of like 10 to 15 people that help them create their videos, and you have other YouTubers who don't have that, and they are still in the same category and still hold their own. So while it is helpful to have more people helping you, and while it's helpful to have those resources, I don't think that means there can't be room for other smaller channels or other bigger channels who do a different style, right? Like, and I also think, I think the other problem is, and I understand why this upsets drama channels especially, is a lot of people compare drama channels to Spill. And I don't think that it's fair to compare them as much. Even when I did my video talking about do drama channels help creators, I made like a whole video with like numbers. Even with Spill, it was kind of like they are a different subset of drama because what they do is incredibly different than what other drama channels do. And the reason for that, we now know, is because Spill has an entire team behind them that is allowing them to produce this high level quality content. They have the money, they have the resources, they have the funding, they have all of these things behind them that are allowing, and people, honestly, like manpower, the manpower it would take to produce the level of content content that Spill does is just ridiculous. Like, that's not something a person could just do by themselves. So I think where the frustrating part comes in is when people do try to compare drama channels, typical one person, do it all yourself drama channels, to a channel like Spill. It doesn't seem fair in the sense, and I mean, life's not fair, but it doesn't seem fair in the sense that they're doing different things. I've seen the point of drama channels saying, well, without the research that we do, Spill wouldn't have the videos that they have. And I think that is definitely true in some cases. However, I also think, not in defense of Spill, because I don't love the idea of a massive corporation trying to overtake the drama community. However, Spill does do stories that normal commentary and drama channels don't cover. For example, they cover a lot of stuff in the like celebrity world that normally YouTube drama channels wouldn't touch. So while I do think that's true to an extent, I think to say that Spill and their team don't do any research is not really correct. I also think the reason they can do that research is because they have 10 people devoted to doing research for them, which is like something I don't have, something Dustin Daily doesn't have, something T-Spill doesn't have. Like, those are not things that drama channels typically have. Those aren't things that singular people typically have. I think at the end of the day, how I feel about the whole situation after all of the information that was brought up is I do think there's room for both people. I just do. I don't think it's the end of drama channels. I don't think, because I think there's still value to what singular creators bring. I think bringing tea when it's still like piping hot, that has a value to it that Spill can't do. I think individual creators and actually getting to know their personalities, which is what YouTube's kind of all about, having individual people, you get to know them, you know that you love them, you follow them on Twitter where they talk about like more personal things, they talk about more personal things in videos, like those things are things that Spill can't bring to the table. So where drama channels maybe don't have as much like psychological research and like citing sources that Spill does because she has a team, I think drama channels make up for those things in personality and bringing things that are quick and having really devoted followers, right? Because you know them as people, you don't know them as a cartoon character. Does that make sense? So for me, everybody's been kind of asking my opinion on it, and of course I disagree with corporate takeover on YouTube. However, I think it's kind of something that is going to happen no matter what. Once people know they can make money from something, they're gonna do it. So I think instead of trying to fight that and say like down with Spill, I think we should instead try to be like, how can we all coexist and still make our own content that can, you know, be different from what Spill does. Spill can do their thing, we can do ours. It's all good. So that's kind of how I feel about the Spill situation, but I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say down below and just to see what you guys are thinking about it. I think it's a really interesting topic, and I think, again, if Spill had just been transparent this entire time, I don't think there would be this big issue. Honestly, I really don't. I think the fact that they tried to make it seem like it was just this like little group of people, college students who like worked in a dorm room, like that's what made it so sketchy and so shady. But I think just them existing is not a problem. I think it's the way they went about existing. That's the problem. Next, Manny MUA posted a video. I believe it was like yesterday he posted a video basically talking about his experience being canceled. I'll link Manny's video down below if you would like to go watch it. So I'll tell you guys usually if I think you should watch something or not, like if I think it's a waste of time or if I think whatever. In this particular case, I do think it's an interesting video to watch. I think it's a valuable video to watch. I disagree with some points. I agree with others. I pretty much agree with the whole first part of his video. I thought he was really insightful in being able to introspect and kind of be like, because in the beginning of the video he talked a lot about how he felt like he got so just like attached and enthralled with this persona of Manny MUA and so attached to this idea of success that he like almost forgot who he actually was and was only focusing on like being successful, being Manny MUA, being bitchy, like doing all of these things. I think that was really interesting introspection. I thought it was really cool of him to be able to be aware of that. Not only number one, be aware of that for himself, but number two, be able to admit that to other people, being able to admit that to millions of people that he was so caught up in those things. Because that's what a lot of people were calling him out for. Like a lot of people were saying you're fake because, and in a way he kind of just said like, yeah, I was being fake. I was trying to be this person and be this persona because I thought that's what would make me successful. And honestly, I give him props for admitting that. I I give him props for being able to like look inside of himself. I thought that was a really interesting point, and I also think it's a really good message to all creators, because I think when you do YouTube, it can be tricky to not get caught up in your online persona. It can be tricky to not get caught up in success and wanting to be more successful. Like, that is a very fine line, because people are subscribing to you because they like you, but how much of what you're presenting is real? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of an interesting thing to process, I think. And I thought it was really cool of him to talk about that. And I thought he was being honest. I mean, that was probably, I'm not trying to be shady, but that was probably the first video from Manny MUA that I watched, and I felt like a lot of it was very genuine. Normally when I watch his videos, I just think he's being fake. And again, I'm not trying to be shady, it's just kind of the vibe I get from him. I thought he genuinely was trying to be authentic and explain to us what had happened. I also thought it was really interesting, this was a part where I disagreed, when he brought up Here for the Tea. I just think if we're gonna talk about like cancel culture being toxic, which to an extent I agree with, maybe don't bring up a person who is one of the most toxic people in the beauty drama community. That's just my thoughts and my opinion. I'm sorry. Again, not trying to be shady. It's just how I feel. I think she has been an incredibly toxic force in the drama community, and I just absolutely don't think that was the move, I guess, for him, but whatever. He talked about her being like a really good friend to him, and maybe she was, but that doesn't mean that she's not incredibly like problematic in her own way. That's all I'm gonna say about that, because I know her stands are like nuts, but he brought that up, and I thought that was a little weird. He brought up an interesting point about cancel culture, which, because he kind of at the end of the video was talking about how cancel culture affected him, and in a way I almost feel like the way that cancel culture should be, the constructive criticism and doing things that were wrong and people telling him in the right way what he was doing wrong, helped him realize like all of these things and helped him make these positive changes. And I actually think he has made a lot of positive changes, because for the most part, I mean, what drama has he really been involved with in the past year? Honestly, what big Manny MUA drama has there been? Because I really can't think of a lot, except for really recently with the whole stylistic copying thing, which that's a whole other topic about copying and stuff like that. But besides that, there really hasn't been any sort of issues or drama with him, and I think that was a result of cancel culture. I hate cancel culture as the word, because I don't think that's what it should, I don't think that's like adequately what it is. I would like to call it like holding you accountable culture. I think that honestly helped him, and I agree with him to a sense that cancel culture is toxic in the sense that having a million people tell you you're ugly, you're fat, you're horrible, you're this, you're that, that's not beneficial to anyone. That's not beneficial to anyone's mental health. That's not beneficial to, nobody's gonna learn from that. Nobody's gonna change from that. They're either gonna get mad and defensive and tell you to F off, or they're gonna get really depressed and sad. So I agree with him to that extent. I disagree that holding people accountable isn't important. I think a lot of times when people talk about cancel culture, they kind of like forget that the majority of people that do those types of things, that take that type of culture too far, is a vocal minority, whereas the majority is really just trying to hold people accountable for the things that they do. And again, you guys can tell me how you think about that, because that's just my opinion. But I think when it comes to canceling, holding people accountable, I think 90% just want to hold accountable and 10% just want to drag and go crazy. But the 10% are more vocal. It's just kind of how the internet works. I thought it was a really interesting video overall though, and I think a lot of people gave it some criticism at first because he was a little cheesy. Like, he said this one line where he was like, my social blade is red but my life is green, but at least he like acknowledged it was cheesy. Like, yeah, it was really cheesy, but like at least he acknowledged it. And I feel like overall, I don't think it can be, unless you're like, I think talking about these things after they happen and after you've had time to introspect and after you've had time to speak on it is beneficial to these creators. I mean, when Thomas Halbert finally sat down and kind of talked about everything and addressed everything that had happened with him, it helped him. It helped, not only helped his channel grow, but I think it helped him with his content moving forward in a more positive direction. Because I think when you have that sort of like, you've been canceled, when you've been branded as canceled and you have that hanging over your head and you're still trying to create, there's like an awkwardness to your content because there's this kind of elephant in the room that hasn't fully been addressed. And I think addressing that after you have had time to really introspect, really think about it, really be able to reflect on where you went wrong, where you think the hate went wrong, like being able to address those things and be honest, I think that's a really valuable thing that creators can do. And what makes this platform really cool is that you can just sit down, turn on your camera, and explain to people what happened from your perspective later on, you know? The final thing I really liked about Manny's video too is I really enjoyed the perspective of you are not your numbers. You are still valuable even if you're losing subscribers every day, even if you're not getting 1 million likes on Instagram, like you are still valuable. Because I think a lot of times in social media influencers base a lot of their self-worth on their content. And I know I've done this. I know other people that have done this. Like it can be really difficult when this is constantly something that you're doing to not get caught up and think that your numbers equal your success or your value as a person. And I think it's really cool of him to be honest that he did used to feel that way, because I related to that, and also that he's working on not feeling that way anymore, because I think a lot of other people can relate to that. And I think it's honestly reflective of not even if you're a YouTuber, just if you're a person. Like social media has overtaken so many of our lives and it's just like turned into this big thing where I know people who aren't on social media. My friends will post a selfie and they'll be like, oh my God, it only got like 23 likes. I should delete it. And it's like, no, that's still a good picture. Like, I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but I thought it was an interesting video. I would go give it a watch, and I know people are gonna hate on it because it's Manny, and I get that. But at the same time, I think he brought up some very interesting points. If you wanna give it like a listen, I think it's a good one to listen to. That is all I have for you guys today. Those are my thoughts on those two topics. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. You can go vote in your local, state, federal elections, and you can have a voice in the political process. It's very important, so make sure you do that. Also, if you're in another part of the world and not the United States, make sure you're doing what you can to make your voice be heard in your local government, because it's really important. I think that's everything for me, you guys. I'm hoping to, I don't know how sporadic content's gonna be this week. I'm gonna be trying to get the house together while also trying to do school, so content might still be sporadic this next week, but I'm hoping by next week everything will be back on a schedule. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!